Hello, this is Ilian from the Raw Juice Guru in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're all well today, tonight, whenever you're watching this. I am here today to discuss to you guys the different kinds of juicers are out there. I know there are different brands. That's not what this is about. This is just about different kinds, and they kind of fall into 5 different categories. And we're going to go over the categories one by one. Now, you probably heard of them. I'm going to go through them, just name the categories. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. And most people ask me, well, Ilian, what is the difference between a twin gear? What is the difference between a single auger? What is a masticating juicer? What are you talking about when you say centrifugal? I'm going to go over that and we're going to talk. So the different categories are going to be centrifugal, this little puppy, Jack LaLanne. We're going to talk about masticating juicers are usually the single augers. But the champion juicers are in a class of their own in the masticating aspect, and I'll let you know why. So there's the champion and there is the single auger. And then you begin to get in the twin gear. And then you have the hydraulic press. There's different brands. So we're going to move back and we're going to start talking briefly. I'm going to go over some of the good things and some of the not so good things about each one. The first one is the centrifugal. This is the most economical one out there because you can find it in stores. The other ones you can't find in stores, you probably have to find it online or order it or maybe. So the centrifugal juicers range in price between $100 to about $200, the ones in stores. Then there's going to be commercial ones, like the ones you see in like juicing places like, I'm trying to think of the names right now. Name them. I don't know. And any of the ones in the mall, they usually have those big Ruby juicers. Ruby. Can't say the word Ruby. R-U-B-Y. Ruby juicers are huge. They're loud. That's a centrifugal. Doesn't matter whether you get a residential one or whether you get a commercial one. They're just loud. And they're loud because they use heat. And oh. So can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm saying? How's up? What's going on? Anyways, we'll continue. Sorry about that. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, so centrifugal juicers, still spinning. This is the good, because you know what? Centrifugal juicers are different from the rest of them in the sense that it has a disc inside, and that's how it grates and chops the produce. Fruits and vegetables. Give me a second, still spinning. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to take it apart, still spinning. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to take it apart. So this is the disc. All of them have it, different sizes, different what it may be. This is the disc. So how it happens is you put the produce in the big mouth. That's probably one of the advantages. It's huge, the mouth. So just put it in there. You don't have to cut much. Put it in, you push it in, and what happens is it has a very high RPM. And what RPM stands for is revolutions per minute. So the centrifugal juicers go anywhere from 10,000 to 16,000, so sometimes they do at 20,000 RPMs per minute. Now you might say, Ilian, what's the big deal? It's fast. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It is and it isn't, in the sense that when you do have that high RPM and that it uses the heat, you end up cooking your produce, right? So by using the high heat, you end up losing some of the lab enzymes that you're trying to get from the juice. So that's probably the biggest disadvantage of it. Everything else is probably good. You know, it's fast. You don't have to cut the produce, you put it in there, and you're good to go. The other thing about the centrifugal is it might be good for cucumbers, it might be good for fruits. For leafy greens, it sucks. Because you end up wasting a lot of the pulp. You know what? You'll waste pulp no matter what you do. Whether you use cucumbers, whatever you use, you end up, a lot of the pulp, you'll notice if you touch it, it's very wet. It's going to be wet. And also another thing that you'll have to do with the centrifugal is you'll actually have to strain your juice. Because a lot of the pulp will actually come out with the juice. So you'll have to strain the juice because when you're doing a juice cleanse, you don't want any of the pulp. You just want the juice. So the fact that it uses the heat to produce, to produce the juice, what happens is it ends up mixing air with the juice, and that's going to make it oxidize a lot faster. And that's huge, and that's what separates also the second component that separates a lot of the machines apart from each other, right? is how fast it oxidizes. So the fact that this uses heat, it actually helps the process of oxidization, which is not what you want. So the juice that I produce from this, you either have to drink it within 15 minutes, within a few hours, and doesn't start, it's pretty much dead after that. It's not, dead is the right word, but it's pretty much useless. It's like drinking water, per se. So yeah, so that's the centrifugal. We're going to move on. So the next set of juicers are going to be what people call the masticating, which mimics chewing. Almost like you're chewing your juice. Now, masticating started off with a single auger. Now, but since we have the Champion is very, I don't know how to get describing a Champion. Champion is like a mix between a single auger and a centrifugal. It doesn't run at the speed of a centrifugal, doesn't do it at 10,000 or 16,000 RPMs. It does it at about 1425 to 1725 RPM. 1,725 RPM, sorry. So it still does heat up your juice. Might not be as fast as this one, but it still heats up your juice. It's still mixing air with the juice. Air is getting trapped in with the juice and it's oxidizing faster. I'm going to take it apart, but sorry, I don't know this juicer very well, so give me a sec. How do you take it apart? Oh, God help me. It doesn't want to come apart. Anyways, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So when you begin to get into the masticating juicers, I was going to take it apart to show you. So this is about the mouth of the tube. So this is as big as the tube is. Now it's not the size of the other ones. It's still a little bit bigger, but it's not as big as this one. So you'll have to cut up some of your produce. So it does run in a high RPM, and it does use pressure at a higher force compared to the other ones. And if I turn it on, it's also loud, right? So you can, it's not as loud as, it's almost like a music box. It's not a musical anyways. It's not as loud as this one per se, but it's still loud. So this is the Champion, and all the Champion juicers are like this. They run at a higher RPM than the other masticating juicers that are on the market. And you'll also still have to strain your juice. It's not the best for leafy greens, and the color again will be different from, it's still spinning, it'll still be different from the rest of the juicers. Now the next one is going to be the masticating juicers, which they call the single auger. Now this is an Omega, it's an Omega Vert, it's an upright one. Most of the other Omegas are almost going to look like this one. They look a little bit long on the longer side. This one is a newer model, I believe. I don't know how new, maybe 2 or 3 years old, or maybe 4, I'm not sure. And it's, pick it apart. With this one, they were trying to almost make it look like a centrifugal. They're trying to make it easier for people to clean and not as confusing. As you can tell, I can barely take this apart. It's for a reason. For this, they're trying to make it easier to clean. So let's see the screen. Nope. So the masticating juicers run at a slower speed, like RPM, and they're about from 80 to about 160 RPMs. They are much, much, much lower. And by them being at a much lower speed, they're not gonna be cooking up your juice pretty much. And this is what an auger. This is a big auger, but this is how it. So you put it in, it's gonna be spinning. This is the only way. At 80, this one I think runs at about 80 or 85 RPMs. So this is the speed it goes in, right? And again, if I turn it on, I can still talk to you. Can you still hear me? Hold on. Where is it? Is one dry? Did I not do it properly? Oh, jeez. Not as loud. So the juice that will come out of this is going to be it has a higher nutritional content, I can't speak today, sorry. And it's incorporating less oxygen into the juice. So because it's at a low RPM and it's not using it's not at a high RPM, what happens is it's not going to oxidize as fast, so air is not mixing in with the juice. Yep, that's about it.
How long does the juice last?
Oh yes, sorry, I know I'm forgetting something. So with this one, I think with all the Omegas, I think it lasts, they say, about 72 hours, which is about 2 or 3 days, 3 days. This machine in particular is, when we experimented with it, it's amazing with fruits and like cucumbers, stuff like that. With leafy greens, I didn't find it very productive, is the word. It didn't produce a lot of the juice, like a juice compared to like a twin gear or like a hydraulic press. So, but yeah, the juice lasts about 72 hours, 3 days. That's about it. I think that's it. I'm gonna move on. The next one is the twin gear. Now the twin gear is a masticating, somewhat of a juicer, but it's at a level of its own. It's like almost like the gold standard. Is that the word? I don't know. With the twin gears, here you're gonna get the most juice out. These machines, oh, I forgot to talk about the price, but it's okay. These machines, the twin gears, there's only 3 different brands that produce this twin gear. It's gonna be the Kempo, you're gonna have Green Star, and the Angel. There's only 3 companies that produce twin gears. And these machines are gonna be anywhere from $600, maybe even more. If you get it on sale, it'll be $600. Anywhere from $700 to about, Angels are about $1,500. These are the twin gears, the 3 brands. So with these ones, they are going to be the same RPMs as this, as the single auger, but with this, the difference is, and you can see how annoying it is to take apart and to clean. They have, oops, pardon, you have 2 gears, whereas this one had one. I know it's huge because it's an upright. This has twin gears, so they're going to be interlocking. So as you put it on, it's going to be going like this. See how they just move with each other? And that's how they're going to be producing your juice. Whether you use, this screen is for a vegetable, obviously. There's another one for fruit, and that's how you, so as you can tell where the annoying part is going to be compared to, like, let's say this one or that one, or even maybe even this one. So, and because it has a grinding force, use the grinding force of high pressure between these 2 interlocking gears, and the amount of volume, the volume that the juice is going to come out is going to be more, way more than the rest. And these machines, the twin gears, see this one has what do we call this, the dial, I guess. And the dial, what the dial does, I don't know if you can see, the dial does, there's a little hole here. This just, it's going to slow down, I don't know if that's the right word, it's going to slow down the amount of the pulp that's going to come up, because that's where the pulp's going to come out. And as you can tell, see how the mouth gets smaller? So this, you have to cut. And this has been used a lot. This is like my little home juicer, so, and I love my Kempo. Don't ever insult Kempo. Anyways, so for this, you're going to have to cut, and this is super, super, super slow. And I'm going to turn it on, and I can still talk to you. So it's going to be super slow, but because it's super slow, and because it's using the grinding force of like, almost like your teeth chewing your food, it's not going to oxidize. You're going to see the juice will not turn, like say the apples. If I juice apples with this and that, leave it out, within minutes, this will turn brown. This a little bit more, this more. This, I don't know how long it can stand out, but probably a lot longer, and it's not going to turn brown as fast either. So it produces much larger volumes, and by doing that, it actually releases more enzymes, nutrients, amino acids, minerals, all that stuff that you're trying to get out of the raw juice. So no heat, and the RPMs in this range. I know this one I think does about 160 if I'm not wrong. I know the Angels do about 85. Green Star I think is about the same. So they're all about the same range. And I said about the cost of this. Let me go back because I'm going to just say about the cost of, because I forgot to mention the cost. I know I said this one, the centrifugals are usually about 100 to 200 bucks. This Champion juicer I believe was 300, and the reason, and this is the, yeah, $300. The Omegas only do centrifugal and single auger. They don't do twin gears. They don't even produce them. So the single augers are probably $200 to $400. I might be off on the higher end one. And again, these ones are anywhere from $700 and over. The next set, now there's a few of these out there, but the next set is what's called the hydraulic press or cold press. So you know whenever you go and you buy olive oil and they say cold press, it's pretty much what they use. Probably. I'm guessing, I have no idea. But this is a cold press machine. So with a cold press machine, this one in particular, this is a little bit different. We do use it on our walk, but that's kind of busy at the moment. So we're going to show you the other one we use. With this one, it's I'm getting there. How it is, it's like a two-step process. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this to you guys. It's a two-step process. So I would actually need this juicer to help me with this in only one aspect. A lot of these juicers, I'm going to go back, a lot of these juicers, probably just these three here, the masticating and the twin gear, they do other things as well. They can do nut butters, they can crush stuff, they can do nut milks, whatever it may be. Every juicer is different. With a Campo, it has a feature, many of the juicers, where it crushes. Clear screen, see, clear screen. So, where you see, where this screen, even though I destroyed it, has the two screens where the juice comes out. This one doesn't have it. So the top is locked. So it might do the revolutions, but the pulp, everything comes out of this. There's nothing that goes in this one. It goes out in that, and that's what they call the grinding. So let's say I'm making, I don't want to say it, grinding meat or whatever it may be, right? It's almost that same when you're grinding the green, when you go buy, what's that meat? The ground beef, sorry. So that's what's the last time I ate ground beef. But when you see them grinding the beef, it's similar to that aspect. And it comes out, then you take that, where's the bag? There's going to be like a little fabric bag. You're going to put the pulp in the bag, you're going to fold it, and you're going to put it in here, and then you're going to, this one's manual, I got muscle. And as you do that, I'm going to show it to you when I do the other stuff. As I show it to you, the juice is going to come out of here. So as you can tell, no heat's used, no RPMs is used, because when you juice with this, with the RPMs, it's not going to really matter when I'm crushing it, because I'm not really juicing it. And the juice does stay with the pulp. Like again, it's not different. It's not going to be like here juice and here pulp. I'm taking the pulp and putting it here. No. The juice is going to be here. I'm grinding it. So what happens? And then the juice is going to come out. This juice, the amount of juice you're going to produce from this one is going to be even greater than this one, believe it or not. So these machines are obviously more expensive. They're more annoying. They're more slower. They're more work. So, and a lot of people don't really use a cold press. Whether it's this size, whether it's thing, they don't use it, right? And these machines can go anywhere. Norwalks, I bought one used, the other one was new. They're about $4,000. So you can tell the price is higher up there, right? Just because it's like two machines in one. So yeah, I think that's pretty much I hit every target. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna just juice. I'm gonna use carrots.